Welcome to the live stream, guys. We've got a ton of cool topics tonight, including, I don't know, what are our topics tonight? I have a thing with topics, but
we've got
I don't remember any of them.
we've got some Blackberry juice, we've got
one of the most incendiary things I think I've ever heard, which is apparently some game developers are running around saying the PlayStation 4 will outperform PCs for years to come, which
apparently
is
he doesn't understand anything about performance or hardware or
anything at all about anything.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because this was going to be one of our featured news items from the Linus Tech Tips forum, and I have to, like, the guy who posted this one, I give him props for posting in our news section because that's great and that is appreciated, but he was a little bit sensationalist about his headline. So I will we'll clarify that once we move into that. So why don't we start with something a little bit, actually, we've got a lot of crazy stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about your Windows 8 downgrade. We're going to talk about how I'm actually not going to be moving to Windows 8 on my personal rig. I hope that Twitter managed to, where the heck is the... Where's the
mini keyboard?
Here it is. I got it.
It's always behind you. Just always assume that it's behind you.
Nope, I refuse to do that. That is clearly incorrect and a bad thing that I will not be doing at all.
It's always behind you.
Oh, did I leave the Twitch stream
They
on?
came from
behind. Yes. Oh yeah, we'll be talking StarCraft Heart of the Swarm because we have an actual gamer on the show this week. Him.
They fit that in there, by the way. In the campaign, there's a
Did they
came
really?
from behind.
Yes!
Yeah, I was so stoked.
Oh, I love that.
So stoked when I heard it. They also fit a Wilhelm scream into the trailer.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, a Marine gets stepped on. Or I can't do the Wilhelm scream.
Hold on. Ah! No,
So,
it's not.
it's like impossible to recreate.
Yeah, it's awesome though.
If you don't know what Wilhelm scream is, YouTube it.
Yeah,
sometime.
YouTube it.
Not now because
It's in like every movie ever.
yeah, especially Star Wars.
Yeah.
Anything to do with LucasArts.
Every Star Wars, every Indiana Jones, every Star Wars movie. We make videos. George Lucas makes movies, or at least he did in the 70s and 80s. And you could argue he made some later.
They don't count. Those are videos.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to get into original trilogy versus new trilogy.
That would be an
now.
Interesting live topic. Though.
We're going to talk batteries. We're going to talk about. Oh, okay. So this. Okay, here. Let's kick it off. So we've only got 200. Oh, okay. The viewers are going up a little bit. I'm just a little bit confused because I'm never quite sure if the live stream starting now thing. Do you have to actually specifically announce on Twitch that you're streaming? Because I think there's like an announce button, but I don't know how exactly that works. You know what? I'm not going to worry about it too much.
I have no idea. A few people said nope or not really.
Not really. Okay.
I got to get on this stream chat.
So let's get started with the Belkin Linksys acquisition is pretty much done. So I got an email from my Linksys contact today saying that his email is changing from his name at cisco.com to his name at, I think it's going to be a Linksys email now. So Belkin has come out and said, okay, we're keeping the two different streams of products separate. So product development is still going to be separate. Product branding is still going to be separate.
Okay.
So when Cisco did the Linksys acquisition, in fact, if I could find a Cisco, see, I called it a Cisco router. If I could find a Linksys router lying around here somewhere, I'd be able to show you. They actually say Cisco right on the top.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what happened. When Linksys asked us to change, because we originally had our CES content branded Cisco because we couldn't find the Linksys brand in use anywhere. They probably already knew that it was coming soon. So they were like, yeah, we saw your first video and we'd really like you to change that to a Linksys brand and stuff. Good call taking that out. Was someone complaining about it? Might have been audible.
No, I heard it.
Anyway, so yeah, that's probably what happened there. So anyway, they're going to keep them separate, and it's going to be pretty much business as usual for Linksys as a separate.
That's good though.
I think so too, because there's nothing wrong with the product.
No.
Like we did some really interesting testing with the EA. Was it the 42 or the 45?
45 versus the N900.
Versus the N900 from WD, and we found that without any optimization or tweaking of the QoS at all, it was just such a beast for very heavy network loads.
Insane. Like we did We did crazier stuff that we do on that network, like, ever. That was probably the hardest load we ever put on it. And it was
Yeah,
still
multiple Netflix streams, Skype call, a game stream,
and
torrenting.
torrenting.
Yeah, and we had like 6 or 7 computers going, so it was like crazy.
And it was like a lot of torrents because we were pushing back and forth from school.
Yeah, so even things like the website are going to stay the same. So you're not going to actually know. I mean, I don't think someone like Belkin acquiring a very strong networking brand like Linksys
Really wants to mess with it too much.
Whereas with Cisco, where they have that more premium branding, I can understand why they'd want some trickle-down effect. And it's like, oh, so it should be worth more of a premium because we're Cisco.
And honestly, like, to most consumers, they will probably have no idea that the sale and acquisition even
ever
happened.
occurred.
And that's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
If they just, nope, nobody knows, and that's exactly what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. I think not many people are watching yet, so hopefully this has blasted on Twitter, or, yeah, there it is. Live stream starting now, I see it. So hopefully people tune in pretty quickly here, because otherwise it's just us and our 400 most loyal viewers.
Whatever, man.
Thank
cool.
you guys for apparently planning your lives around being here to watch us live on our Friday night when we could otherwise be dating attractive women
or eating bacon.
Or eating, yeah. Slick, I actually haven't even had one BLT sandwich. And it's not even going to be hot by the time I eat it.
It's already not.
Yeah. Oh.
Even mine was like room temperature.
So disappoint. All right, so I don't remember what hotkeys we use for switching scenes anymore. Is it like shift?
F keys.
Is it F keys? Oh yeah, there we go. Yay, Twitter. Okay, so it's 2 a.m. in Argentina. Thank you for tuning in. Can you do live stream at a sensible time for us British European types? We will change it eventually.
Yeah, the plan is to change it.
The plan is to change it.
Probably time and probably day.
Yeah.
Probably day.
I don't want to do it on Friday nights.
I don't think most people want to do it on Friday nights because most people, like, even if you're not going out, you're probably wanting to game with your buds. So like, I want to game with my buds. I'm pretty sure they want to game with their buds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they want to game with their buds too. Someone's asking where happened to the Acer laptop. Oh, it's still here. Slick's on my old MSI. Like sort of gaming ready model that I try not to use because man, it's heavy, but it's kind of awesome because it's like quad core and stuff. But there we go. Let's go ahead and go back to our. Can you please do a video on the HIS 7970 gigahertz edition, 3 gig? What do you think of this GPU? I think it's a 7970 gigahertz edition, and I think it has 3 gigs of RAM, and I think HIS put their sticker on it. That's what I think.
Bam.
Does it worry you that Google has control over your job with AdSense? Have you thought of setting a paid subscription for your site? There is no way we are implementing any kind of paid subscription for our content.
Bye-bye every single viewer we have.
Yeah, I mean, we love you guys, and we know that you love us too, but we're pretty sure that we're all like, nope, premium content, $5 monthly subscription. You guys are going to be like, yeah, I'll just go watch someone else's unboxing video. Yeah. So. I mean, we think we make good content and all that good stuff, but for us, I mean, our value add that will allow us to no longer give Google complete control over our livelihoods is our audience. And if we alienate the audience, then, like, we suck. And on that note, a word from our sponsor, Intel, for the live stream. What a great segue. See, I'm getting good at this, right?
I don't think... Black.
Okay, we're gonna figure out how to play back the sponsor thing in a moment here. I'm not quite sure what happened there. It used to just play automatically. Okay, give us a moment to give you a word from our sponsors. This video is brought to you by our trusted partner, Intel. For a limited time only, with the purchase of any unlocked Core i5 or Core i7 Intel CPU, get a free Intel beanie with a chance to win an Intel snowboard. Valid for Canadian and US customers only. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, visit intelgamingpromo.com.
I'm gonna reset my Twitch.
So the great news, guys, is that it's mid-March, which means we're only going to have the Intel Snowboard promo running for about another 2 weeks. And I know some of you might not want to see it anymore. Hey, we have another sponsor. So speaking of sponsors and not relying on Google forever, that's a big part of the reason why we did 2 things. So number 1 is we're reaching out and getting sponsors, like sponsors that we trust, that we actually use. So if you go, you know, Linus, what CPU are you using in your computer? I'm using an Intel CPU. Like,
at the same time.
And I've been using it for years, not because Intel's sponsoring Tech Tips.
At the same time, we're not hating on AMD.
And at the same time, we're not hating on AMD. In fact, AMD, particularly on the GPU side, has been getting a lot of love lately from us.
Check out what was the most recent one we did? I think I'm
Battlefield
one ahead
3.
of what's released. Okay, Battlefield 3. Yeah. They won. Battlefield 3, they won.
I think they've won every single GPU showdown so far.
I think they won all of them and then like tied one or something.
Yeah, I think Battlefield 3 was more of a tie.
But
and then
still,
Crysis 3 steamrolled.
But
and then,
still, the top 2 spots in Battlefield 3, if you look at the overall chart.
That's true.
Which is poked in at the end by a little bit, because there isn't really a good vocal segue for me to overlay the overall chart. But it is there. So if you guys are watching the Battlefield 3 video, go somewhere near the end and it just kind of goes, hello, and then leaves after a little while. But check it out. That's like the whole, like all the cards on one big chart. And you can see the top 2 spots are actually AMD cards.
There you go. Although we have a new sponsor, so Cooler Master, particularly CM Storm gaming peripherals, which I think both you and I have been pretty raw about.
Same factory as Philco. Like, you can't really...
That's all you really need to know.
You can't even go that wrong. I've got a Quickfire TK upstairs that I use, like, whenever...
Whenever your ducky was dead.
Whenever my ducky was dead.
Yeah.
Or when I was swapping the keycaps out of my ducky. Or, like, I bring it home if I go to my parents' house for weekends.
Well, it's easier to travel with.
Like, it's nice. And, like, it's pretty rugged, too.
So Cooler Master's on board now, which we're really excited about. And in addition to that, we also just signed with Twitch.tv as a YouTube network. So we won't have to rely on Google's ad sales anymore. So Twitch is actually going to be responsible for filling our videos, like the regular YouTube pre-rolls, with hopefully more relevant ads, which I think is important.
Yeah.
As well as hopefully, you know, not making us rely strictly on Google. Which, I mean, even now, we rely on Google in huge ways, just for the infrastructure, delivering the videos to you guys. They make all kinds of mistakes that honestly cost us a lot of money and a lot of headache. Not delivering our videos to our subscribers.
Yeah, subscription box. I have, my personal YouTube account gets like less than a quarter of the Linus Tech Tips uploads. I'm like, what? I should be getting all of these.
Very frustrating. I mean, there's that. There's the fact that YouTube screws up on things like we had a video set to private and it went public, so we accidentally broke embargo on the GTX Titan launch, which was not cool. And they've had, I mean, that's been broken for months at a time in the past to the point where it's just kind of ridiculous. So, so yeah, we still rely on them in a big way, but we're not going to rely on them for our livelihoods, which is sort of exciting. Well, not entirely for our livelihoods. We'll still rely on them.
Yeah.
If anyone from Google's watching, we'd still love you. Please don't shut off our channel.
Yeah, don't close our channel.
Yes.
We like our channel. It's okay.
Okay, so let's talk Galaxy S4. Actually, you know what? No, let's go to Twitter for a little bit of Q&A here. Let's see what you guys have to say about the show so far. I'm just going to go ahead.
Sorry if people notice that I'm looking down a lot. I'm trying to get on Twitch, but I can't log into my account, so
I'm on Twitch over here.
Yeah, but I want to be able to monitor it here.
Yeah, okay. We should just be monitoring it.
We should be monitoring the chat at all times because you guys notice when anything's wrong right away, which is good.
Johnny Blaze says you should try the new Blackberry Z10 when you're done with the HTC One. I would love to. If anyone from Blackberry's watching, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to have an opportunity to try it out. I mean, it's funny because we've said that enough times, like kind of joking. But then there was that guy from Bell who watched, and we said that their customer support was buttheads, so he called us and fixed it. Like, fixed everything. Everything's perfect now. And then we called out Raul Sood, formerly of Voodoo, who apparently left a comment on our video.
Because we said that we weren't sure if any of the solid gold cases has sold.
Yes, and he was like, yes, we sold at least one. $50,000 for that gold case, which is just unbelievable. And you know what? I checked. It is him. I had Josh follow up with him and find out if it was actually him, and it actually was Raul.
If you're wondering where that comment came from, on YouTube you can just set whatever name you want.
Yeah.
So we've had like Barack Obama comment on our videos. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not Barack Obama.
I'm pretty sure Barry has some other videos to watch that are not related to technology and whatnot.
Pretty sure if he wanted a really good computer, he would just kind of have a really good computer.
Do you think the 7970 is better for Battlefield 3, Call of Duty, and Tomb Raider? You know what? We have to do Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I want to wait. I want to wait till driver optimization. Okay. I don't want to do too many beta drivers anymore because all the weird stuff that
maybe in a couple
that.
weeks.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna wait till AMD and Nvidia both drop pretty good driver optimization revisions.
Okay.
Then I'll run all the test benches for that. Benchmarks, not test benches.
Yeah. Run it on all the test benches.
Every test bench we have. I'll run all the benchmarks for that, and then we'll release a video on that right away. And then you'll have your BF3 and Tomb Raider. Did he mention another game?
Battlefield 3, COD, and Tomb Raider. So I mean, COD runs on like an Atari. So
I wouldn't worry about it, man. You're probably fine.
Yeah, it's probably okay. Just don't stress. Don't stress, Jason.
It's cool.
All right, speaking of which, someone asked for a shout out to a Jason, but a different Jason. Slick, could you tell us about your personal rig? Maybe we'll cover that when we talk about your Windows 8 downgrade. Okay. Someone asks, is Razer really that bad? Because from what I hear in the internet, it's the worst branding in the world. No, I don't think that's true at all. I mean, like any company, not every product is perfect, but I mean, the Orb Weaver is by far the best gamepad that we've ever encountered. What was the name of that controller? The Sabertooth, the one we saw at CES.
It's not tournament ready. Or is it tournament ready and the other one's not tournament ready?
Oh, that I don't remember.
It's either the previous Razer Xbox controller.
I think it's Orca's a headset. I know the one Onza.
Onza, yeah. I can't remember if it was the Onza or the new Sabertooth.
Well, the new one has those buttons on the bottom.
But they're removable, are they not?
Oh, no, and they're not macro ready.
Right, so the new one is
this is the tournament ready one, yeah.
Right, because you can't rebind all the buttons all over the place.
Yeah, so I mean, and the build quality of it was outstanding, especially compared to the older one, which wasn't as good. I mean, that Black Widow Ultimate is a very solid mechanical keyboard. I mean, guys, I guess, and the Blade. The Blade is probably right up there with guys like Apple in terms of the build quality of that notebook.
All I'm gonna say, I've owned 2 Razer Lycosas, or Lychisas. Neither of them work.
Okay, so I think it's a mixed bag. When you have people that have a bad experience, then they're much more likely to talk about that than a good experience.
That's also very true.
And talking from my NCIX experience, where I know what the sales numbers look like, I can tell you right now, if you see 5 complaints about Razer compared to some other gaming brand, it might have something to do with the fact that they're selling 5 times more than them or more.
Right.
So
that's definitely a very valid and very large point.
I mean, it was like that with OCZ and SSDs for the longest time, where people were like, all the complaints I see about SSDs are OCZ. Well, yeah, all the SSDs that are selling are OCZ. So what do you want me to say? Like, yeah, whatever, man. Okay, so let's go back. I'm working on a Prodigy build. What does your wife think about you using the living room as a workshop for your personal rig? I actually am not anymore. My personal rig is almost done. I'm working on a Prodigy build.
I thought you finished.
Well, I still have to, the power adapter I made myself, I made a left angle power adapter for my optical drive, but I used wires that were too thin and they didn't bite into the thing enough. So I have to replace that. I have to fix the extension wire I was using for my 4 fans on the bottom, because it like broke or something. Decrepit somehow. I have to remount the top LED strip because the included adhesive with the phobias is not holding it in place. So I'm going to use my double-sided Velcro. Yeah. And then I have to figure out how to bleed that bloody T-virus. So
it was pretty close, was it not?
It's getting there, but I'm thinking if I stick like something in there and just kind of swirl it around, that might help.
You can do that. Then you got to take those caps off, and that's not always the easiest.
No, it's easy with
the fill port.
Yeah, you can just stick it through the fill port. I think it should be okay.
Wouldn't you get tied up in the
maybe in the helix? I don't know. I haven't tried yet.
Either way, if you want to do shake, this is like totally has nothing to do with the stream.
I don't want to shake the computer.
But if you want to do shake, we can lift it up and I can stabilize it and you can shake.
Ugh. Oh, I shudder to think because there's enough things that just are broken enough about it. We're not going to talk about BitTorrent on the show. We like to keep things clean, but feel free to talk about BitTorrent somewhere else. Thoughts on Elric joining the Newegg crew? I think it's a huge benefit for the Newegg TV guys. I mean, he brings with him an enormous audience.
Yeah, he's got his crew basically. He's got all the guys that are gonna follow him, which is.
He's been around forever. I mean, you look at how quickly Tech of Tomorrow grew when he departed from Motherboards.org and Channel Pro.
It's going to be interesting departing from motherboards.org/Channel Pro, going to Tech of Tomorrow, which he was already kind of.
He was already kind of running on his own,
but like boosting it up and then ditch, boost up.
He may. I don't know what his plan is. I haven't talked to him.
He may maintain it,
but
because
he may maintain it.
Kyle and Paul at least have their own channels.
Yes, they do. Awesome Sauce News and Paul's Hardware. If you guys want to check them out, Paul did a really good video review of the Leonidas 30-inch IPS monitor that's available for like $600, $700 on eBay.
Yeah.
So guys, check out his video of that if you're looking at a large format display, which it happens I am because mine's broken now.
If you want the story on that, because he probably doesn't want to reiterate it.
Personal rig update 15 has
it's pretty much the most depressing video I think either of us have ever filmed.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, spring break? Is it spring break?
Yes.
It's been so long since I've been in school, I don't even think about it anymore.
Maybe that's why no one's watching.
Linus, please enable 240p viewing option. I have no idea how to enable or disable different viewing options. I think that's handled by Twitch. We stream at 1080p, but I believe you can downscale it to whatever you want.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah,
so.
no idea. All right, so let's move into our next discussion topic. Should we let's just hit the Galaxy S4 now, shall we?
Boom. Okay.
So we cheated a little bit in our teaser video for the live stream, where we said we had a Galaxy S4, but actually we don't. This is just a Galaxy S3, which should give you guys some idea of how different we think the S4 is from the S3.
If you look at the front of the S4, the camera and these two little LEDs go slightly more vertical. And this little indicator LED is now visible just like these ones.
No!
Goes slightly more
hold
vertical.
on! Slow down. Slow down, you're blowing my mind, man.
It's visible. You can see it's got the black ring just like the other ones. It goes slightly more vertical, and it comes all the way over here to go right beside the speaker.
No way, hold on. Beside the speaker.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
Game changer.
I don't even know who could have possibly thought about that. The button is like slightly more squared off.
Hold on, there's a button?
One button.
One button?
You can't put more than one button.
Okay, although with that said, the HTC One does not have a button. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did.
There's no middle button.
I did.
There's an HTC... I'm not sure what to think because
know.
You double tap home to get to your recent apps.
Which is fine.
Which is fine. I'm okay with a double tap. It's fast. And the haptic feedback on this thing is outstanding.
Holy crap.
Let's stay focused on S4. Focused on S4. Okay.
The back.
So physical changes. Carry on.
The back.
Take it off and show what the inside difference is. Okay. So here, I'll hold this one. So
the back from here all the way up to there is pretty much the same.
Okay.
And then the flashlight goes down under the camera, and this disappears.
Okay.
And that is innovation in its.
Do you have the specs up on your computer?
I can get it up in a moment.
Get the full specs up because I'm gonna talk about sort of the philosophy behind what might have driven Samsung to go with a very similar to Galaxy S3 design. So
no matter how much I rag on it, it does kind of make sense.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Okay, because when you looked at Galaxy One, honestly, it wasn't a great phone.
No.
My wife has one. It has not really served her well.
No.
I'm not going to rag on them or anything, but they knew it wasn't great. Galaxy S2 came out pretty quickly and revamped everything. It went AMOLED. It went way faster. It had a way better screen. It was just better in every possible way, and they completely reinvented it with the Galaxy S2. Then Galaxy S3 came along and went, okay, we're going to take everything that was good about the S2 and keep it. We're going to go with a shape that's much nicer to hold. Did the screen get bigger? I don't remember.
I think so.
I think it did. I can't remember. Galaxy S2 again though.
Pretty sure it did.
Didn't last that long and was replaced by a phone that was significantly better in every possible way and replaced it. Now Galaxy S3 hung around with us for a long time. I mean, this launched. We did a video back around launch, so that's going to give me some idea of when it was. But NCIX.com, Galaxy. Someone's probably already. Galaxy video card 8 months ago. So this launched almost a year ago, like 9-10 months ago, and here we are. Finally, Samsung's replacing it with the S4, which is similar. But remember, this time they're not replacing a phone that was fundamentally flawed in any way. They're replacing a phone that
did really well.
The #1 selling smartphone.
Yeah.
If you're Samsung, do you reinvent the wheel when the wheel's spinning really good?
One thing I brought up when we were originally
not
talking
good.
this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, that was funny. We were in the car talking about it, and I was like, okay, well, if it's really similar form factor and just like awesome sauce specs compared to before, why don't they take the Apple approach and just call it like not an S because it's already S because of Samsung, but like the Samsung GSX.
Right.
GS3X or something. Like add another thing to the end because they're not changing, not really changing the form factor of the phone, not changing stuff like that. And then
I mean, that's something Apple's gets away with though because they've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what an S means. An S means an evolutionary change. I mean, they've done this with iPad as well, where they don't even rebrand the damn thing anymore.
No.
They just go iPad.
iPad.
With Retina display. So when you buy an iPad, you're buying an iPad, unless it's an iPad 2. So there was iPad, iPad 2, and iPad with Retina. And I mean, maybe something like that would have been appropriate here as a Galaxy S3 Uber edition or like whatever the brand, like better branding than that. But
then branding consolidation is a really big deal. And that brings this into play.
Okay, let's talk about that later. Hold on. I want to talk specs on this first. So,
okay.
So Samsung's either going to have what is it? Snapdragon S600. Is it called S600? Something Snapdragon 600, something or other. So that's going to be a 1.9 gigahertz quad core, which is pretty similar to the 1.7 gigahertz Snapdragon 600 that's in the HTC One, a little bit faster, although it has a beefier battery, 2600 milliamp hours compared to 2300 or 2350 or something like that. But there's going to be another version that's an octa-core Exynos or whatever they call their thing. That's an octa-core that has 4 A7 cores and 4 A15 cores. Now, I would go as far as to say if their intention is to use those 4 cores either for power saving or performance,
it's still kind of a quad core.
Can NVIDIA get away with calling Tegra 3 a 5-core? Because they kind of tried it at first and then they backed off on it because they have that low power core and then the 4 performance ones.
Is that exactly how it's supposed to work? Switching for power saving?
My understanding is that's how the octa-core is supposed to work. Because come on, you're not going to benefit from an octa-core, like 4 equal cores.
It's nuts.
And the octa-core is clocked at 1.6 gigahertz, so it's going to vary depending on region, what spec you get. So the HTC One, by contrast, you're going to get the same spec regardless of region, but there's 6 different versions supporting different bands for different regions.
That makes sense.
But you get the same CPU regardless.
Yeah.
What else have they changed spec-wise? So they've added, so it's a 5-inch 1080p, I keep holding this because for all intents and purposes, I'll hold this far enough away that you can't tell. It's a 5-inch 1080p display, AMOLED. The rumors were that the AMOLED production line wasn't ready yet, and it was going to be LCD, but very exciting. So you're going to get those deep, rich blacks, power savings, assuming you're not looking at really bright stuff all the time. That's really exciting. It's going to come with 4.2.2 Jelly Bean.
Ridiculous 12 megapixel camera.
13.
13.
Yeah, 13 megapixel camera with 2 on the front cam. And that leads us to another sort of comparison point between the S. We're not even going to be able to talk about the One because we're blending it in here. So HTC went for a bold departure from what everyone... Very bold. Instead of a high megapixel rear camera, they have a 4 megapixel rear camera. Hold on, I'm going to let that sink in for a moment there. And you know what's kind of stupid is I had all my notes for the HTC unboxing that we did earlier.
Deleted them all.
And I deleted them as we went, but
yes,
you know what?
for undo.
I think I've got it. They're calling it Ultra Pixel. Ultra Pixel camera sensor. So this is a 4 megapixel 3rd-inch sensor with an f2.0 lens and optical image stabilization that they're saying because of the larger pixels and the large sensor is actually able to capture more light and more detail, even though the resolution that will appear when you right-click Properties Resolution is actually lower. And you were dinking around with it a little bit in the car on the way back, and it looks like, and also based on reviews that we're seeing of the phone, that might be true. It
looks really good.
More megapixels may not be the solution. So anyway, Samsung has a 13 megapixel camera on this bad boy. It's available in a variety of different internal storage configurations, and it does have a micro SD slot, which the One does not. That to me is so confusing, the way HTC continues to not implement micro SD in their high-end phones. I personally never actually filled my iPhone for 16 gig.
And you don't like...
But not everyone's like me. Some people want more storage.
There's a spot.
Like they could have put a spot right on the bottom there. Just put a micro SD slot there for crying out loud, guys.
Like you can't take off the back. Okay.
You can't replace the battery. Okay.
Okay. Make an external plug-in for it, but it's a really small chip.
With that said, the One only comes in 32 gig and 64 gig configurations.
So it's gonna be big.
So I would never manage to fill 30. I know that.
Some
I actually
people will. Both of us won't.
I stream video to myself over my data plan. I have a pretty generous data plan, so I don't worry about it too much. Okay, what else they got? Oh yeah, so there you can interact with the touchscreen without quite touching it, although I don't know how valuable that is. It apparently pauses video if you look away, although their camera-based eye tracking features have never necessarily worked for everyone, so I don't know about that. S-Travel, TripAdvisor. Oh, they're adding some of the cool features from the Galaxy camera, which we shot an NCIX Tech Tips of today, and it's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's actually pretty awesome.
I just wish it had a phone in it.
Yeah, okay, we were talking about this. The Galaxy camera is running Android.
Yes.
And
Android Jelly Bean.
And we were thinking, if you just add like a speaker and a mic,
yeah,
it
supports data.
It supports data
with
already.
a micro SIM.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're gonna have a plan for the stupid thing, and you don't actually, and if you're one of the, I mean, let's face it, there are people out there who don't care about a thin phone. These people exist. And the Galaxy camera is not that thick. Like it's probably, if I took, look at all this Samsung product placement here. Samsung SSDs, like if you took sort of a phone and a couple SSDs, it's kind of like that without the lens sticking out.
Expand your storage today. Like, strap an SSD to your phone.
I might be the kind of person who would actually say, you know what? For the sake of having an awesome camera and video camera as a vlogger, maybe I don't care about a slim phone anymore.
If I'm going somewhere, I've got my backpack.
That's right. Would you actually mind putting your phone/camera in like a drink pouch or something on your backpack? You can play games on it?
It would be cool if it had the functionality so that I could bounce my SIM.
Right. Or just you can get a supplementary SIM.
Yeah.
Or do something like that. Share the plan.
Like that. If I could share the plan, that would be awesome.
Like a self-family plan for your camera and your phone and your tablet or something. And your notebook or something like that.
Yeah, because there's some times that I'm going to go out and I don't have my bag.
Because that's probably where we're headed. And I see no reason why I shouldn't be able to take a phone call on my notebook if I feel like it.
Yeah.
Or on my camera if I feel like it. Why not?
And while everyone's talking about everything getting smaller and stuff, and like phones getting thinner, cameras... Like, you need the sensor.
Yes.
You need the lenses.
You need the distance. You have to have that distance.
While neither of us are actually experts on cameras, we know basic physics.
We know diesel.
And we know diesel. we knew this before we knew diesel.
Yes, that's true. And making the pixels small enough to the point where, like the I forget what it's called. Whatever this.
I don't even know.
Light wavelengths. Yeah, where the light wavelength actually is not even going to be able to hit.
Yeah, because the pixel's too small. You're trying to go into a box this big.
You're just
with wavelengths like this.
You're just oversampling.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an exciting departure. What else we got from Samsung's phone? So they amped up the battery life. They amped up the GPU in a big way. Much more powerful. Should be much more competitive. Samsung Knox will be supported. So if you want to bring your own device, BYOD is a big trend right now. So you'll have like a safety spot versus like where your work can. Sort of admin it for you and you can VPN, and then you'll have like a consumer one where your Facebook pictures aren't going to be accessible to your office or anything like that. However, BlackBerry's moving their secure workstation over to iOS and Android, or secure workspace.
Yeah, secure workspace.
So maybe Knox is coming along at a time when it may not even end up mattering.
Although this is interesting because in my opinion, if BlackBerry did this 2, maybe 3 years ago, I think they would be in a way better position because BlackBerry's whole thing is workplace.
Yep.
Like it's always been like they are the business phone, or at least they were.
They were.
That's the problem. A lot of people started moving their BlackBerry servers out and their BlackBerry security and all that kind of stuff because people weren't using BlackBerries anymore. If BlackBerry rolled this out so that all the businesses kept their BlackBerry infrastructure.
So your theory is that then, when BlackBerry got competitive on hardware again, they'd be instantly ready.
Easier to reintegrate everewhere.
Right. Whereas if there's an infrastructure change.
Yeah, because now people
the Z10 is a very competitive phone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now people that ditched, businesses that ditched, are going to have to, if they want to roll out BlackBerries again, go back again, and doing another change is going to be hard to push through management.
And you look at how long iOS and Android were superior to BlackBerry, and yet how long it took businesses to move away from BlackBerry.
Because it was so good.
Like how superior you have to be to drive someone to your solution versus how mediocre you can be and coast on it.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And like at the same time...
It's an uphill battle, but I'm kind of rooting for them.
Yeah, I want BlackBerry to live. I really want BlackBerry to live. The Z10's an awesome phone. I want to actually use
it's
one.
Super light. It's kind of like iPhone 5 light. Like just super schmexy light. Along those lines, the S4 is getting lighter than the S3, and the HTC One has some heft to it with its like sexy aluminum 200 minutes on a machine shell that is just, it's like very premium compared to... Awesome. This was an interesting...
One quick thing to add about BlackBerry. I think if they still, like, just to bounce back on this again, if they still had their servers in place, so if they gave out their software, what they could have done with the Z10 release is say, look, now we have another awesome phone with some added features for BlackBerry Secure Workspace.
So now they could have differentiated and been a standardized platform.
Which would have driven more sales. Anyways, continue.
Right. Okay, what else we got here? S-Voice, blah, blah, blah. Have we missed anything? Oh, it has wireless AC, although I have no idea what performance is going to be like, because based on our experience with like a USB AC adapter, it probably won't be any different from N. That's my guess. Yeah. And like power hungry. I mean, the actual full performance AC solutions we run into have heat sinks as big as a phone on them.
A little bit bigger, actually.
Yeah, so...
we don't have it here, do we?
Available with 16, 32, or 64 gigs with plus the micro SD slot, and I think that's pretty much it. So let's wrap up with some of the highlights of the HTC One. So this has got the same Snapdragon 600 processor in it, 2 gigs of RAM, just like the S4. It's got that ultra pixel camera. It's got the ability to take ZOEs. Zoe's? Is that what they're...
Zoe or Zoe? ZOE. It's ZOE, yeah.
So it's a 4 to 5 still frames at a time while recording 1080p video, which is very cool, I think.
Yeah.
And the idea is that you'll have kind of like little talking snippets, like motion snippets, kind of like the newspapers and the portraits in Harry Potter.
Daily Prophet.
Yeah, like in the Daily Prophet. And I think it's either going to be really neat or it's going to be kind of gimmicky and I won't end up using it. But I actually don't know. It's not one of those things like where you look at it and you're just like, skip through this stuff. Tell me the spec of this stupid thing because I don't care about these gimmicky features. So I'm actually willing to give that a shot. Boom sound is a huge innovation. And that's something that Samsung could have done. Front-facing speakers. Come on, guys. Why did this take so long? Every tablet and every smartphone from now on should have front-facing speakers. You can write me down as having said that because it matters. If you actually expect this to be a content consumption device, music, movies, games, all of them benefit from front-facing speakers because cupping your hand around the back of a phone to hear it properly is stupid. And all the complaints I get from people, and it's funny, I get a lot of complaints about the audio levels being too low, which is why we boosted them up tonight. People are like, I can't hear it because I'm on my phone. And I'm like, it's because of your stupid, crappy Ultrabook or phone speaker that doesn't actually go loud enough. And people who reply to those people and say, just turn your volume up, they don't understand. You guys are on a phone, not on like a desktop computer where you can just crank it up. So we're trying to get that addressed in recent videos, and I hope we've done a pretty good job of that. So there's that. They have an infrared emitter and receiver built into the power button, which I think is a really elegant way to do that. So you can use it as a universal remote. And of course, I mean, the chassis is just outstanding. It's really easy to hold in spite of the fact that it is 4.7 inch and I do have small hands. It goes almost edge to edge and it is 1080p just like the S4. So this is basically, I guess it's also not out yet, but I think it's going to be out first. It's basically like a higher end S4.
And then,
Slightly lower clocks, much better build quality.
right, talking about release dates. Samsung S4 is, I believe, April 20th.
So coming soon. Exciting. About a month.
August. No, it is August.
Oh, it is?
No, that's something completely different.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know the release dates.
Oh, that was Saints
S4.
Row 4.
By the way,
we don't know, so forget it.
we have no idea.
Okay, so the last bit about phones, we're not going to talk about phones anymore after this, I don't think, is that HTC's CMO actually came out, I don't think I told you this yet, fighting words, came out and said Samsung's Galaxy S4 is quote-unquote more of the same. Whoa! Looking to grab some headlines there, hey boss?
Ooh,
So-
that might be a good tactic for them right now.
That might be the way
That's a form
to
of marketing.
sort of ride on the coattails of the Samsung marketing engine, which exists now for the mobile products. So, okay, last thing. So guys, for those of you who have been asking me to do an iSwitched for Android, I am doing it. I'm going to be using the HTC One as my Android weapon of choice. I'm done with Windows Phone 8. We'll be giving away the 8S soon, actually, as well as a bunch of phones on the forum soon. Hopefully next week, I guess. Think we can launch it?
It depends.
Let's try and launch.
We're
gonna try and launch it next week. But yeah, I'm gonna do an Android iSwitch, and if there's anyone from Blackberry watching, please let me know. And I'd love to do a Blackberry iSwitched after that, so I can give you guys that noob's perspective. I've used Android pretty extensively on tablet, but I haven't used it much on a phone.
Yeah.
So this should be fun. Why don't we do a little bit of Twitter, and then let's move into your downgrade, unless you had something you really wanted to do.
Nope, but considering we peeped at it a second ago, Saints Row 4 is announced. I think this is one of the first games to be announced since the THQ was dissolved.
Oh, people are asking me to do an OS 10 iSwitched. Yeah, over my dead body. You can quote me on that too.
Yeah, seriously. Saints Row 4 release date, August 20th in the States, August 23rd in Europe.
Oh, awesome.
So I think that's the first game that has been announced since THQ was dissolved. I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
Like first game announced that was a part of THQ, obviously.
Can either of you guys recommend that? What's that CM Storm mouse we use at the office?
Spawn?
Oh, it's the Spawn. Okay, sorry, we haven't tried the Sentinel Advanced 2 mouse, but the Spawn is actually way better than I thought it was.
Really nice for claw.
Yeah, really nice claw, tracks well, tracks on a variety of surfaces. We've used it extensively now because it's hooked up to our display computer in the NCIX Tech Tips studio. So, yeah, let's move into, I don't see anything that interesting on Twitter, so let's move on to your downgrade. So why don't you start? Can I actually just steal that sandwich from you? And then you can make a new one. And I'm going to take a couple bites while you talk about your experience with Windows 8. I'd like you to cover it from a number of different angles. I actually have them here.
Your laptop?
Yeah, switch to my laptop. Just throw it on top of there. And I'm going to go now down on your sandwich here.
How long are you using for it each? How long are you using it for each?
Yeah, in like each of those different scenarios. So you used it on notebook, desktop, and you haven't really spent much time with it on touch, but you spent
laptop
some, right?
versus touch. Okay, I've spent basically a completely negligible amount.
Start with why you started on Windows 8.
Okay, I started on Windows 8 because my laptop was a development laptop, and I got Windows 8 from school, so I was like, hey, might as well do it. So I started with the developer preview. It was for a laptop, though, and all I really did on that laptop was basic coding, which is inside an environment. So Windows 8 isn't really going to mess with that much. And then I was exporting that and testing it on other machines, not my own machine. And then basic web browsing. Like, I wasn't doing very much with that laptop at all. So didn't really get tons of usage out of that, and that was not a touchscreen laptop.
You had some frustrations at the beginning, like shutting down.
I had some frustrations, a lot of frustrations shutting down. I find getting to the Charms menu, if you don't have, like, this is a touchscreen Windows 8 laptop that I'm on right now. If you have a touchscreen, you just swipe in and it comes in very nicely, and you swipe out and it goes out very nicely, and that's awesome. If you don't have a touchscreen, it sucks. That's mainly to do with when it first came out. I've noticed it got a little bit better, but I still don't like it. I don't like putting my mouse there and like waiting, then having it just not come up, and then I'm like, guys, I want to, can I shut down, please? And then Metro, like, or I guess not Metro, Modern UI, Is that its official name? Modern UI is not for me at all. I don't like it. Again, maybe a lot better for touchscreen. Almost definitely a lot better for touchscreen, but I'm not into it as a desktop user experience. It looks amazing. It feels really good, but it takes too long. Like, I just want to press start, type in my stuff, and go for it. That was resolved by Windows 8 Classic Start, which I downloaded through 9.8.
Can I chime in on Modern UI? So one of the issues with Modern UI, and you look at even other popular touchscreen interfaces like iOS and Android, they are very touchy, very swipey, but they don't actually get rid of the folder structure.
Yeah.
They still have it, and it's still good. And
Yeah.
that was one of the frustrations I had with Windows Phone 8, and I think is similar to your frustration with Modern UI, because if Modern UI had tiles, but you could actually have subtiles, you probably would use it.
It would probably
Okay,
be fine.
carry on.
That probably would not be a big deal at all. I'm kind of a sucker for having cool backgrounds. So I like seeing my desktop, and I like having a clean desktop. I always go view, don't show icons, so I can have nice, very, very clean backgrounds. Even on my phone, the home screen of my phone is completely blank. If I can get past all these pop-ups. The home screen of my phone is completely blank. You can't really see very well right there, but there's no icons except for the mandatory ones at the bottom, which I can probably get rid of if I ROM it with something weird, but it is not currently ROMmed with something weird, so there's mandatory icons on the bottom. Okay, so those are like the initial feelings with my laptop, although not a big deal, and I just kind of left it there because that was not a high usage laptop.
The file copy is amazing.
I'll go into that, but I didn't really do that way too much on my laptop anyways. Then I'm like, okay, Windows 8 is released. I have an official version. I'm going to try and dive in because I had to reinstall. My Windows 7 installation on my desktop was pretty messed up and was probably going to stop booting pretty soon because of how messed up it was. That was my fault, by the way. I'm not going to go way too into it, but yeah. I had to reinstall, so I was like, okay, I might as well dive in and try Windows 8. I've got everything on my data drive anyways. I'm just reinstalling an operating system and basically 9.8ing my program, so it's not really that big of a deal. 9.8, by the way, if you're wondering why I keep saying this weird word, it's NINITE, and then just that.com, and you can go to the website. It's a really awesome way to install a whole bucket full of programs that you usually install when you're setting up a new computer anyways. Anyways, okay, so user experience with my desktop. A few random problems that I haven't seen a ton of people complain about, but I know it's not my hardware because I've tried it with other installs with Windows 8 and other installs with Windows 7, sorry. I get random screen flickers where it will just, like, in about a quarter of a second, it'll just invert my screen and then flip it back. And I'm like, whoa, what just happened? And then other times it'll just go completely black screen, but only on my main monitor. And it's not my driver. I've done tons of troubleshooting for it. Then I've got other problems, like just weird, like things won't really work very well. Like I have a lot of problems with USB 3.
Really? You hadn't told me about that one.
I kind of got it working,
Okay.
but like it's still just like sometimes it won't detect things, and just weird problems with that. Some games, like I can't play Crisis Warhead. Speaking of games not being able to be played, over here you guys can kind of see it. This test bench is I'm doing 8350 versus 3570K. I've done pretty much all of the Windows 7 testing. That didn't take me very long because everything worked. And then I had to set up a new SSD, a new everything with Windows 8. And the idea was we're going to do Windows 8 versus Windows 7. We're going to do Windows 8 on its own. We're going to do we're going to try and do a whole bunch of stuff to add on to Logan's testing with 3570K versus 8350. So I want to do a whole bunch of scenarios that he may not have done yet, so we can just add to the discussion because that's a really interesting, really good discussion. I couldn't play, Witcher 2 wouldn't play, Metro 2033 would not pull any save files from the iSCSI for who knows why. Dirt 3 wouldn't play, like all this stuff would not run at all. So I tried reinstalling just absolutely everything, and I think I'm going to be trying that again on Monday, hopefully, if I have some time. I'll probably have some time. So hopefully that will actually work this time. And that's not my own personal rig, but that is something I've directly worked on, so that is a personal experience. What were some of the other problems? Certain programs have weird permission requirements. Like, for Steam to be able to run, you need to run it as an administrator. Why? It's Steam. Come on. For Xfire to be able to run on startup, it needs to be always run as an administrator. Why?
Right.
Like, why? That's so weird. And like, a lot of these problems were like, okay, I guess I'll go change that and allow this program to have administrator rights for whatever reason.
But it's just bizarre.
And it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was the screen problems that I had, which finally booted me off.
Did we get into the bit where we assumed Windows 7 and Windows 8 would have equal gaming performance because they're based on the same kernel using the same driver pretty much?
Wasn't even going to talk about those numbers, but we can bring it up if you don't mind talking about it before the video.
Yeah, well, let's not go into depth, but guys, we have a Windows 7 versus Windows 8 using Intel and AMD.
I told them
Set of gaming comparisons coming. And we are seeing some pretty interesting
weird stuff.
20% performance drops going from Windows 7 to Windows 8.
And then sometimes
equal.
And then sometimes where there's a huge drop, but then that's without anti-aliasing. And then I add anti-aliasing, and nothing changes for frame rates. Like exact same frame rates. So
rerunning
like
these to replicate, to see if we can replicate it, and it's just like Bizarro Land kind of stuff.
And rerunning them like a lot more than I normally do, because I'm like, no, this is weird.
So with all of that said, I think you and I can both still agree Windows 8 is optimal for a device like this.
It's awesome for touch.
Yeah.
It's great for touch. It's great for tablets. It's awesome for all that kind of stuff.
And I mean, if you want a mobile x86 platform, so this is the Iconia W700. We have an unboxing that's going to be uploaded soon. Outstanding. Something like a touch notebook, would you go Windows 7 or Windows 8?
For most of my use cases for a notebook, I'm not gaming. Whoa, I totally missed that. I'm not gaming. Woo! For most of my use cases for a notebook, so not gaming, web browsing, work in Excel, work in PowerPoint, work in Word, all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I love this notebook so much.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll take it back from you now. And Windows 8 is part of it. The touchscreen is one of those things where people say, oh, I can scroll just as easily with my keyboard and mouse. You know what? You don't necessarily want to sit with your hands on your computer while you read an article. So maybe you want to rest them, and maybe it's faster to just go scroll.
And sometimes the user experience of just being able to go, that.
Yeah.
Or I want to do this and just like touch the things is kind of nice instead of using these interfaces. So yeah, just to recap, I don't hate Windows 8. I don't even dislike it. It's just not perfect for my desktop user experience. I will probably stick with it on my laptop. And I don't have a tablet, so yeah.
I probably won't be moving to Windows 8 on my desktop. I just installed Windows 7 last night on my personal rig. I had to reformat because of a situation where I accidentally unplugged half of my RAID array while the computer was powered on.
And that doesn't really work so well with RAID 0.
Yeah, RAID 0, it's not a good thing. So anyway, I went Windows 7, partly because of the gaming experience that we're having on the test bench here, although I don't know how much of that could be just...
We need to do a lot more
We
testing.
haven't replicated it on a second machine yet.
Yeah, okay, we need to do that as well.
Yeah. So, take all that with a grain of salt. But aside from that, spending some more time with it on the notebook here, I mean, I don't like having things like control panel moved around on me. I don't like having things like search moved around on me.
And the search is weird because it can only search in like file settings.
That's exactly what I meant. The categories of search I find frustrating.
Like why?
The start menu fixes a lot of the issues, but not necessarily quite all of them.
And it has its own kind of problems. Classic Start has its own problems.
And I really like Aeroglass.
Yeah.
Which is kind of dorky, but I like being able to see through the top of things.
And like, you know what's weird? You can make a transparency for some of the stuff.
But not all.
But not everything. Yeah. Like the bottom bar, the taskbar will go transparent.
Yeah.
But then...
the top bar does not.
The top bars will not.
Yeah.
And like, at first... he brought that up. He's like, "Oh, I miss Aeroglass," and I was like, "No big deal." And then I'm like, "Oh."
Well, I use it.
I kind of want it back.
I use it. I use it to see what's under stuff. Like even just that top bar, that little sliver.
And it just looks right.
Oh, I know it looks so good.
Like you should be able to see through it. Like, no, I don't know, not a big deal. One thing that I'm gonna miss a lot, which you again don't care about.
Wait, no, not the file copy.
Not okay. File copy is amazing.
So good.
I wish I could just like download the file copy UI.
I mean, Terracopy's okay, but it's not well integrated with Windows.
No, not very well. And like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Task Manager. The new Task Manager is really
No,
nice.
no, I agree 100%. New
Yeah.
Task Manager is outstanding.
So I'm going to miss those two things, and then one thing that you don't care about at all, but if you are running a whole bunch of backgrounds and you have them switching,
Yeah.
if you have multiple monitors, each one can have its own background.
There has to be some third-party utility.
There is third-party utility.
Is it pay?
But one, you have to pay for it.
Ah, okay.
Two, it just sucks.
Oh, okay.
So like, I don't know.
All right then. Yeah. So there you go, guys. What are your impressions of Heart of the Swarm?
Okay, so I haven't played enough multiplayer yet. The campaign is awesome. If you like RTS campaigns, especially if you like StarCraft, I suggest going and playing it. And play it all the way through, because the story wraps up kind of nicely. There's a few times where I'm like, really? Did you really just do that? Why did you just do that? But it ends up wrapping up very nicely. Multiplayer, some of the new units that came out are really cool, interesting, fun, all that kind of stuff. Balance, I think, might be a little bit odd right now.
Weren't they thinking of removing carriers?
They were going to remove carries, which was going to remove me from the game. Because I just have...
That's like classic.
I love carriers, man. And like whenever I get to late game, it's always fun to just like play normally and then all of a sudden be like, carriers. Because they never expect it. Oh, it's so much fun. Anyways, so, and like, okay, the unbalanced thing is coming from a person that plays Protoss and is finding certain units on Protoss unbalanced in a way that they're slightly overpowered. So I'm not being biased, being like, oh, Terran and Zerg are overpowered. Like, there's certain units on my team that are kind of nuts. There's one flyer unit that has a whole bunch of abilities, but you can change its mode.
Talk as if you're talking to them and they know what you're talking about.
You can change its mode, which makes it constantly use energy, but that means that it can now shoot. It can't normally auto attack, but it's really fast moving, and it doesn't cost nearly as much as say a Void Ray. So you can get it in behind mineral
I know what
lines.
a Wraith is.
You can get it in behind mineral lines really, really quickly, activate this energy ability, and just decimate mineral lines and then fly them away. The energy will constantly go down even if you're not shooting, so you have to be careful with toggling it and stuff, but just the speed at which you can clear minion lines, or mineral lines, is insane, and they're really fast, and they're not that expensive. So you can pump out 3, and then jump behind the guy's mineral line and just, like, clear it.
And that's game over.
And just be like, sup?
GG noob.
Have fun making a little bit more money, not being able to afford anti-air turrets and having me just re-wipe your mineral line every time. They're really good. And now, like, I've only played a couple multiplayer games. I honestly don't even really know the new units for the other races. So I'm probably not the best person to talk to about this. And there might be really good counters for them, and realistically they might suck. But every time I've used them, it's just been kind of ridiculous. I've just disallowed the other team from having workers at all, so I don't know, that's kind of cool, but not fair. So yeah, really, really fun. I need to get more used to it. I've been out of StarCraft for a while. I haven't played for a really long time. Ladder matches, last night was like the first time I've done ladder matches in months.
Right.
So I'm pretty out of it, but maybe next stream I'll be able to come back with a much more knowledgeable opinion on it. On the multiplayer side, at least.
So overall, recommended for $39.99. I was surprised to see a $39.99 price point.
It's not a full price expansion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is cool, and it's especially from someone like Blizzard, who's like, yeah, release full price expansions all the time. But then, yeah, it's not a full price expansion. The campaign is not short. I beat it in 2 days, but that was like...
That was 2 pretty intense days. I hardly saw him.
Yeah. I like would disappear after work and then stay up until like 5 or 6 in the morning, and then come back to work the next day.
You were so crabby in a couple of those mornings. Like you're banned. I was tempted to be like, look, you can't play StarCraft until that late at night and come to work cranky like that.
But I beat it. That's what was important.
Yeah, that is the important thing, I suppose. Beating a video game.
They added a lot of really cool changes now. There's levels, so you're like. Your person levels up, I guess. I think you gain levels depending on what race you're playing. So, like, I'm a whatever level Protoss, and I could be a different level Zerg, I think. And while you're playing, like, as you spawn units, as you kill units, as you build buildings, you gain experience. And then you gain experience depending on, like, how long the game was and all this kind of stuff, which adds a cool dynamic which is more fun for not the extremely hardcore players.
Right.
Which is like, oh, cool, I'm leveling up. They
Everyone
added
loves more
achievements.
stats.
Like
Stats and achievements.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's way more of that kind of stuff in the game, which honestly, it is kind of cheesy, but I just love it. It's cool. I like leveling up in StarCraft. I like getting experience in StarCraft because it's just like, oh, that's cool. Like I built this unit and then killed this dude, so I got experience for building the unit and I got experience for killing him. Like, I don't know. It's kind of cool. It is cheesy, but it's kind of cool. I like it.
Did you ever? Yes, we do have a build log of the week. Okay, I'll have to open that up on there when we get a minute next time you're talking for a bit. But why don't we move to Twitter? We've still got a lot here. Why don't we burn through some of the quick discussion topics?
Okay.
So Corsair released 3 gigahertz. That's 3,000 megahertz memory. Did you see this yet?
No.
Okay. Curiously enough, they released it under the Vengeance branding rather than Dominator.
What?
Yeah. So they're Vengeance modules. So they're not using the custom PCB. They're not using, or they might be using a custom PCB. Okay, that I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But they're Vengeance modules. They are going to be extremely limited production, and extreme overclockers only need apply, because not only do you have to have the 3 gigahertz memory, which is going to be really expensive for 2 4-gig DIMMs, but you will also need to have a CPU that can actually handle 3 gigahertz on the integrated memory controller. And
Will that
they can't all do that.
will that like actually heat up DDR3?
Probably. I can't imagine this is like a stock voltage memory
there's
kit.
no
So.
way. That's like, because DDR3 doesn't heat up that much.
No, but the binning process that's going into
Oh god.
3 gigahertz,
I don't even want to know.
that's probably why they're Vengeance modules. Because the volume of modules that they would have to build to bin enough 3 gigahertz kits to ship, because Vengeance are a higher volume part compared to Dominators. That's probably what happened. So there you go. There's the answer to the question that I couldn't figure out by me.
Yeah. Someone just commented in the Twitch chat. He's like, finally, he said something you actually need liquid cooling for.
Yeah,
But I was like,
exactly.
yeah, you don't really need to cool RAM. So maybe you will actually have to cool your RAM.
I mean, these are intended for like liquid nitrogen cooling.
Yeah.
So they're expecting people to push these well beyond 3 gigahertz.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of neat if you're into memory overclocking. I think very few people are these days, though.
No. As far as I know, not so much.
So there's a rumored, this, you know what? I wanted to do this. I'm going to go to the Linus Tech Tips forum, and I'm going to go to the news section, because I do like to check our tech news and reviews section on the forum and pick out guys who posted news threads that I thought were interesting. So our 3 gigahertz memory news post was from Semi Kibal, I don't know what that is. So at only $749.99, this was posted by one of the members of our forum. Also, there was a post on the AMD 7790 and NVIDIA GTX 655 Ti that are rumored to be released at some point. So I don't know anything about these cards, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if they're real. I don't know if they're actually coming. But what I would imagine that they are, because I don't think there's any new architectures coming right now. What I'd imagine they are is they're just overclocked 7770 and 650 Ti.
Probably. That makes sense.
Because they both overclock well. Like 7770 particularly is like a beast overclocker. So they could just go, okay, slightly higher power envelope, turn the clock speed up.
7770 is one of my favorite cards to overclock. Because it's just like...
So that's probably what's coming on that side. They're likely to line up sort of perfectly with each other, because they're going to be speed bumps of cards that compare reasonably well. Although I'd expect the 7790 to continue to beat the 655 Ti. If that's what they end up being called. All of this is complete speculation and rumors. I know nothing about them, which is why I can actually talk about them.
Right, yeah.
If I knew, I wouldn't be able to talk about it. Because of our results, where our overclocked 7770 competes very favorably against the overclocked 650 Ti. So that's what leads me to believe that a higher bin of both versions would favor AMD. So.
Right.
So there's that one. So that one was posted by Artorias on the forum. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna.
Sounds like a warrior. Artorias.
So he's got some Sapphire's official Facebook announcement, as well as, so he's got references to other sites, which is good.
That's very cool,
We don't
yeah.
want just random rumors that don't refer to anything, so that's exciting. So there was another one. This one was the one, aha. So game developers say PlayStation 4 will outpower most PCs for years to come. Now, when we actually click on it, this was started by Dragontail. That was a bit of a sensationalist headline there, because what the game devs actually said, if we read a little bit further here, is recent debate about new console something something has developers starting to come out and say that the PS4 will outperform entry-level hardware in the PC market that includes graphics cards around 4 gigs of RAM for years to come. So, okay, couple of things here. Number one is entry-level PC hardware is so far behind high-end PC hardware. I mean, you look at entry-level graphics cards, things like a 610. A 610 is still basically a low-end Fermi. Like that was, is a 6, I don't think 610 is even Kepler.
I don't think so.
And even like back when in the 400 series, I think they rebadged 210s at some point and made those 400 series. Like there's a lot of rebadging that goes on.
Rebadging happens all the time.
On the low end stuff, because quite frankly, they sell them for so little that it's hardly even worth the R&D to redevelop the chips. The people who are buying these cards are more interested in features like multi-monitor than gaming. I maintain you shouldn't buy a graphics card that's less than $100. If you're spending less than $100 on a graphics card, you might as well put it in a piggy bank and save up for a platform upgrade. Because you can get APU platforms, you buy a new CPU, memory, and motherboard for a couple $100 that are going to outperform an entry-level graphics card from either NVIDIA or AMD.
We have videos from quite a while ago now, actually, but APU videos, they do really well.
Yep.
Like,
Outstanding.
really surprisingly well.
If you want entry-level gaming performance, don't buy an entry-level gaming graphics card, because that isn't what it is. Buy an APU. Just do it. CPU performance is decent. It's not on par with Intel, but the graphics core is way ahead of what Intel's delivering right now, although Haswell may shift things around a little bit, because I was looking at the amount of core space that Intel is allocating to GPU. CPU is like not going up at all in terms of the actual size. Like it's going to be just optimizations from what I can tell. But then what they're doing on the GPU is they're like doubling it.
Wow.
Like way more die space. So that's exciting.
Well, they needed to compete there a bit more, to be honest.
So anyway, so yeah, I mean, saying something like they'll be competitive with entry. I mean, Xbox 360 is probably still competitive with entry-level PCs. That's like a 6-year-old console. It's like, wow, how far into your crystal ball did you have to look for that? With that said, the vast majority of people out there are not running gaming computers, and that's something that we enthusiasts forget about sometimes.
There's a lot of 8800s, there's a lot of 260s.
There's a lot of stuff that's way crappier than that.
That's true.
There's a lot of, like, you know, 8600 GTs still out there. There's a lot of 8500s still out there. A lot of previous stuff still out there. There's a lot of gamers who are still living at home with their parents using whatever computer their parents bought from a big box store.
One of my, like...
They want to play games, but...
One of my really, really, really good buddies is running an eco-friendly 8800 that only has one PCI Express power plug-in.
That's exactly the same as the regular 8800. There's a little tidbit for you. It was just a revision to the core that made it slightly more power efficient. Its performance is exactly the same as a non-eco.
Well, we've benched it and they were different.
That's
so
very
maybe
strange.
That's binning or something that happened there.
That's very strange.
We'll have to look. I'll have to look into that one more outside of the stream. But yeah, he still plays absolutely everything.
Yep. And you know, the reality of it is, the PCs sort of, you know, the greatest thing about it and the worst thing about it is the flexibility of the hardware. So you can make a game for PC, and if you make a game for 90% of the PCs out there, the way Blizzard does, you end up with games like Diablo 3 that look like they're 10 years old. But the reality of it is that's still a PC game, and consoles, next generation consoles, will be ahead of that level for a long time.
Yeah, because you can develop for exactly the spec.
Yep.
Which is nice.
So there's that optimization that goes on as well.
If we don't have anything, we should jump on Twitter. We haven't really been on Twitter at all.
Yeah, sure. Let's jump on Twitter for a little bit. See if anyone's got any Twitter things. If I could actually get the window open, that would be great. There we go. I do so love this little keyboard mouse thing. Lol, my friend got ripped off at Fry's. They said 800 watt power supply, water cooling, etc. Nope, he wasted money on a GT 640 3 gig. And that's another thing about that statement from the Game Devs. What do you mean a 4 gigabyte graphics card? That doesn't mean anything. You can put 4 gigabyte. In fact, I think someone did put 4 gigs of memory on a low-end GT 600 series. And I'm just looking at that, come on. That card is going to be bottlenecked by the time it fills up 512 megs of VRAM. Because any modern game that actually has high-res textures, A, turn them off because they're not going to run on that card, and B, you're going to be running at such a low resolution, you're not going to need the VRAM anyway. We usually mean competitive in terms of performance, I think. Repping that 3200 integrated GPU. I think that's an older one from like the Express chipsets. That's not quite the same as an APU, just throwing that out there. It's me playing games with a 9800, yep. 650 Ti with 1 or 2 gigs VRAM. 1 gig VRAM is fine for 650 Ti.
This is an interesting... The T-Bouncer. T-Bouncer next one.
Can you talk about your T-Balancer? I've talked about this on the live streams before, so I don't want to bore people who've already seen it.
Yeah, but he's saying recommended. He's asking if he should buy one. We've talked about why we liked it. We haven't talked about why we don't like it.
It's really hard to configure. It's such a pain.
Really
it's hard to even find an English version of the stupid software. Last time I did it, which was like a couple years ago, mind you.
I tried to do it more recently and could not get an English version working.
I think you have to get the German version,
yeah,
and then you have to figure out how to change it to English within the German version.
By reading the German menus.
Yeah.
And apparently that works. So like there's a lot of usability things that are kind of weird, but once you have it set up,
it's set and forget. You never touch it again. I didn't touch it for literally years, and it just automatically configured everything. Through multiple rebuilds of my computer, I just didn't change anything about my T-Balancer config.
Just remembered which fans kind of plugged into what.
Yeah.
And like, it's awesome, but you're going to have to fight with it a bit. That's all.
Okay, we are going to have a featured rig from the forums, a featured build log, but I don't want to click on anything in Twitter right now, just in case it's like goatsy or something. I'm trying to OC my 7770s, but can only get a small overclock. You got way higher. Try turning up the voltage. That might be something. Oh, you know what? I think I might have made a mistake. PC Computer Geek might be right. We usually line up 7770 with the non-TI, don't we?
Yes.
But then
TI is lined up with... Do we even...
I don't remember. Okay, you'll have to check that out.
I'll get that one sec.
No, he's right, because
it's 650. Do we even run 650 Ti?
I don't think we do. So there you go. We were totally wrong in that whole discussion about that. Any giveaways today? Probably no giveaways today.
Yeah, we run 650, 660, 660 Ti, and 670.
Is the Aries 2 all sold? Probably. ATI can only use PhysX by running calculations off the CPU. How much of an impact on FPS is this? Well, a lot of games, it's like kneecapped by the way that PhysX is implemented. So, yeah. You never explained Cherry MX green switches in your mechanical keyboard tech quickie video. Can you explain its advantages and disadvantages? It's basically a heavier blue, and the reason we didn't talk about it was because find a keyboard that actually has... Okay, I know there are some, but they're very... Well, yeah, but that's not even out yet. They're not even supposed to be talking to us about that. You're going to get them in trouble.
No, I think
they previewed it at CIS. They previewed it at CES. But there are very few keyboards out there with Cherry MX Green, and it may gain some popularity moving forward, but they are more expensive, and they are much less rare than the usual blue, red, brown, black key switches.
They have it on their website as new for $99.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, apparently... 99 only? Is that a 10 keyless? Oh, yeah, that's an expensive 10 keyless then.
Yeah, that's still a keyboard with green switches.
All right, exciting.
He just said they're heavier blues. They also have a more accurate actuation point. Blues have a slight problem that people, and like, okay, I use exclusively blues on everything, but blues have a slight problem where if you float right under the click, you can hit the actuation point repeatedly. So there's double tapping issues that people will have if they're trying to click really, really quickly, where they'll accidentally go back down before they click, and they'll actuate it too many times. So the actuation point is not exactly on the click. Greens is way more accurate in that aspect than blues. Now, in saying this, blues are pretty darn accurate. Like, you're not going to have this problem that often, but that is a notable difference is the greens do have a more accurate click and actuation point level.
Okay. A little bit more Twitter. Is it worth it to... Corsair 200R is a good budget case. We're using one for our video capture PC that we're running on right now. Is it worth it to get a Big Bang 2 that supports 128 gigabytes of RAM? I don't know if I would run a... Wait, where are you going to get 128 gigs of RAM on an X79? You need 16 gig DIMMs. So good luck with that.
There's
Wait.
rumors of those
Are they coming soon?
coming out soon.
Non-ECC 16 gig DIMMs?
Rumors.
Okay.
I don't know. I've just read
You'd
stuff
be spending
on
a fortune on it. By the time you spent that much on 16 gig DIMMs, if this is for a video editing and rendering station, get yourself a dual socket super micro board, throw a couple of Xeons in there, and then get lower density 8 gig DIMMs and fill it up.
And just fill it up.
And then you can get your 128 gigs of RAM and get more processing power and a proper workstation platform at the same time.
Probably for a fairly at the price 16 gig DIMMs will probably be.
Yeah,
probably
exactly.
A fairly competitive price.
It'll
too.
probably be cheaper.
Yeah, to be honest.
Linus wanted to get your opinion. Should I wait for the 900D or get something now like a Phantom 630? Phantom 630 is not very comparable to the 900D. I mean, 900D is a monster. 630 is quite, like it's a mid-tower almost.
And it's like full steel and aluminum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like full metal for the 900D, whereas a very plastic design for the 630. I think you need to decide exactly what you want and then decide what to buy. I'd probably go with a 7950 or a 660 Ti. I mean, that's a good 3470, maybe a 660. 660 is a great value, or a 7870 or 7850. When is Slick going to upload videos to his YouTube channel?
That is for that channel that you see when I comment on YouTube videos is for replying to comments on YouTube videos. I am not planning on releasing anything on that channel.
Slick's personal rig has been updated.
Yep.
People asked you to talk about your personal rig, and we never talked about it during the Windows 8 thing.
Okay. I'm water cooling with a T-Virus and a 120.3.
PA 120.3.
PA 120.3.
Donated by someone very gracious.
I'm running a 2600K and moving to a GTX 670 water cooled. So it's very short.
Yeah, it's really short.
It's very short.
Mini card.
It's literally about this big.
Looks really small in the 800D.
It's a little bit ridiculous, but it actually kind of works for my water loop.
Yeah, because it'll be in the right position, so you won't have to re-plummet and buy new tubing. Okay.
So it actually kind of works. I have I don't want to do a personal rig update video because I have a lot of work on that rig that I need to do before I want to release a personal update video. The mineral oil rig had enough novelty in it that it was just kind of awesome. But like currently, I love the power supply that's in there.
There's like junk growing in his loop and he doesn't want to show you guys.
Actually, that goes away and comes back because of the silver fittings. Right now, it's not there.
Is it not there right now?
No, it's gone.
Oh, that's weird.
But it comes back. It's the silver fittings. It cleans it and then gets dirty. It's because I don't think I have enough. If I had silver fittings on my D5,
okay,
I think it would be enough.
I think my rig has like 8 silver fittings in it.
Yeah, I have 6.
Yeah, okay.
And adding in that graphics card might actually solve it.
Okay.
If I add 2 more silver fittings there, that might actually fix my problem.
Okay.
Or I could just add a kill coil or something. But anyways, I still need to like sleeve my power supply.
Yeah, your power supply looks ghetto. It's a high current
ugly. It's
Pro?
an awesome power supply, yeah.
High current Pro 1200 watt or something ridiculous like that.
Beast and like unnecessary, but whatever. But totally beast and ugly. Super ugly. So I need to sleeve that. I'm in an 800D, but like
the front looks horrible.
It's a little bit broken. There's some scratches. Like I need to
so
move,
beat up.
Like it's really beat up. One of my roommates that I had, who was often under the influence, utilized the cardboard panels from the box for my 800D to build something. I came home and I'm just like, what? And this was like weeks afterwards because I just had the box for it in the back room and never really thought about it, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I can't transport my 800D in a box anymore.
It's so heavy.
Which is insanely
like,
heavy.
really hard to move around and like have it not like, if it's like once it gains momentum, if it starts moving in the back of a car, it's gonna smack something.
And then that creates scratches. So like it's an 800D, but it's like probably one of the least attractive 800Ds in existence. Not really, but it's not doing so great.
There.
It's down there. It's definitely down there. So that needs to be replaced. I need to sleeve my cables. Like there's work that needs to be done before I want to release.
But you're saving for a car.
I'm saving up for a car.
He's saving for a car so he can drive me around for a change instead of the other way around.
Yeah. So like, it's gonna be a while, but yeah, that's my rig.
Can we put like benchmarker / programmer / chauffeur on your business cards when we have them printed?
Oh my god, we gotta do that.
That would be so amazing.
That would be perfect. We have to have chauffeur on there. We should have leaky chauffeur.
Okay, you'll have to leaky chauffeur. Yeah, his car now actually the roof leaks. It's a Pontiac, which should be all you need to know.
It's a convertible in BC. It got cold and it cracked.
It's
an old
a Pontiac.
Car. It's an old
It probably
car.
leaked at the beginning.
No. It's an old car.
Why do you defend the Pontiac?
Because I like that car.
What is good about everything about it is terrible. It doesn't even have cup holders. That's stupid.
It's convertible. You don't need cup
from
holders.
What do you mean it's a convertible? You don't need cup holders.
Nothing slides with you. I was hoping you wouldn't notice that.
That's like I can't even compare that to anything. That's like saying it's a rancher. It doesn't need
It was
windows.
my first car. It's got me around, and it's awesome in the summer. It's amazingly awesome in the summer. Being able to cruise around with the top down in the summer when it's hot is just kind of awesome.
Okay, Pontiac.
Whatever. Your car barely runs. Oh, I need to change gears. Okay, we're still moving.
Well, maybe if I wasn't driving your huge ass around everywhere, my car would still run.
It was broken.
You
before
weigh
I came
about
around.
double what I do.
What? I thought we figured out.
Actually, no.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Whatever.
You look like you weigh double what I do. Twice as hard to look at. There.
Ooh.
Bam.
Ooh.
Bam.
Ooh. What was I gonna say?
I don't care.
I can't even remember. Whatever.
Something about your stupid car.
I like my car.
Something about your personal rig. Oh yeah, you're saving up for a car, so you're not going to do all the upgrades right away. That's
right away, yeah. But I am planning, like, eventually all of this will happen, and then I will eventually release a rig update. But like, I wouldn't hold up for it.
New / more fans for my PC, or save up for a GTX 680 Lightning. I don't know, if your computer's really loud, I've done cooling upgrades as opposed to performance upgrades, but it really depends what video card you're running now. Although 680 Lightning isn't necessarily the best choice unless you want to run 3D Vision or NVIDIA's, 3D Vision or PhysX or CUDA.
Figure out what games you play and then check out some of our videos.
Yeah, 7970 may end up being a better choice for you. Like something like a, shoot, what's that Asus one? The Matrix one. Matrix 7970 is an awesome card. We did an NCIX Tech Tips quite a while ago showing that even without the Never Settle driver, it was already the fastest single card when overclocked to the max, and we ran it against a 680 Lightning.
And the Never Settle driver is like kind of a big deal.
Yeah, kind of a huge deal. Sean contributes that Windows 8 has been super shady on his grandmother's new computer. Apparently, to run some Microsoft games in Windows 8, you need a new app, and Steam's not providing it. So that might be something for you to look into. We're probably not going to do a video on OC Basics because we do specific videos on NCIX Tech Tips for every new platform anyway. Yeah. So just go check out our overclocking guides over there and you should pick up pretty much most of what you need to know. My mouse isn't working. Oh, there it goes. Yay! It's back. Nice.
And honestly, the Windows 8 comments, like the usability of different things is, like, I was able to deal with that. It's the monitor randomly inverting and going black. That I'm not able to deal with because like I've died so many times in games just because I'm like, oh, I have a black screen and I can't do anything for 6 or 7 seconds. And in a lot of games, when you can't do anything for 6 or 7 seconds, you're kind of screwed.
Okay, a little bit more Twitter Q&A. So Robert asks if his FX8350 showing 4 physical cores and 8 logical cores on Task Manager is normal, and I don't know, is that normal? Because pile driver modules are sort of like a core and a half.
Yeah, they're funky.
But it's not quite, like, not a core at all the way hyperthreading is. So it's probably normal. As long as it shows 8 logical, then it should be fine.
By the way,
Slick's defense, Ferraris don't have cup holders either.
So basically my car's a Ferrari.
It's a Pontiac Ferrari, built by Pontiac.
Ferrari.
Slick can drive to Wreck Beach in his convertible Pontiac. Exactly. That is how classy a convertible Pontiac is. Bam! And welcome, Limefire. The Lexus LFA has no cup holders, and it's an amazing car. Don't judge a car by its cup holders. Okay, okay. How about this? How about the fact that the Pontiac has no cup holders and isn't an amazing car? How about
like
the cup
that
holders
car.
are just one thing for me to pick on?
In like 20 years, all it's needed is new spark plugs.
Okay.
Bam.
And
Pretty
like,
good. Runs great.
And a serious like non-suckitude makeover. Is Slick a family member? How is he always with you?
He works me way too much.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I'm not getting paid right now.
Actually, you're not.
No.
No. Although you're salaried, so technically you are getting paid right now, just not very much.
Like really small.
Are you planning a project car? I can't imagine. You're not that mechanically inclined, are you?
I do okay. I do all right. My dad is.
Oh, okay.
And then I kind of get some from there. My dad's kind of a wizard when it comes to anything. So.
Chris, I don't think we need more heatsink manufacturers. I think Scythe exiting the North American market was sort of all we needed to know. They
Big
had
notification for that.
good, unique products and couldn't make it over here because we have enough heatsink manufacturers.
Be Quiet recently moved over even.
Yeah, they did.
Recently-ish.
I have a blah, blah, blah. We'll have a, yep, definitely. Go for it, Richard. Do you think Samsung's features are actually useful or just bloatware ruining Android? What monitor are you going to use now that your old one broke? My mother always told me, if you don't have anything nice to say,
don't say anything at all.
skip over it and address the next question. I don't know.
He's thinking about a Leonidas.
Yeah, I'm looking into the Leonidas. I'm thinking about getting repaired. I would love to drop like $5,000 on Sharp's 32-inch 4K monitor, but I think my wife would kill me. Like, absolutely kill me. So, yeah, I don't know yet. If I can repair the 305T for a reasonable price, then I'll do that in all likelihood. Just tuned in from England. Yay, hi England. My main question with the T-balancers, can it actually switch the fans off? Absolutely. The fan curves are fully configurable and fully actually work, although I'd recommend using voltage control, and I probably wouldn't recommend using PWM fans. Have you thought of combining forces with 10 Syndicate, or do you plan to continue to be competitors?
10 Syndicate.
Well, Logan's on the East Coast, and we're on the West Coast, so unless one of us was planning to move, I don't think we'd be like merging our companies, because he's running his own business now too, much the same way that I am. However, I really don't see us as competitors.
Logan's awesome. We like Logan.
Yeah, we like Logan.
Like a lot.
I mean, we've emailed him, we've like Twitter chatted with him. I've never met him in person, unfortunately, but I'm hoping to at some point. But yeah, guys, hey, go subscribe. Raise the world with a 0, not a no. On YouTube, Tech Syndicate, go subscribe because Logan's a good guy and his format is so different from ours.
It's good.
I mean,
I like it.
We both do benchmarks, but his news show is much more structured. It's more of a recorded show, whereas our news show is like live Q&A.
Subscribing to both channels
Yeah.
wouldn't have that much of a content style overlap, and you would probably,
And you'll get a couple different perspectives.
Yeah, it's cool.
Get mine, Slick's, Logan's. Subscribe to Paul Hardware as well as Awesome Sauce News. That's Kyle from Newegg. Yeah, all good guys. Okay, let's see. 520 watt 80 plus platinum. Is that the passive one? If so, good work, Melvin, because the passive one is
cool.
boss.
Yeah.
You know what I figured out? I think that one is built on the same platform as the XFX 1000 watt platinum that I'm using.
Yeah, you told me about that.
And the fans on my radiator are air penetrators, so they're directed airflow. So if I at least have that one running a little bit, I can have no fan at all in my power supply, because 520 watts is lots for what I'm doing. In fact, is it 520 or 550? 520, yeah, I can see it, it's over there. How is pump rattle in the H100? Neither of our H100s is bad.
Yeah.
I owned an IBM Model M for a little while, and then someone took it back from me after I cleaned it up. How many Canadian viewers do you have? I don't know.
400.
11T.
42.
5.
6.
First time I watched the stream in real time. All right.
Yay.
Can't pronounce your name, but that's cool.
Whoa.
Is an SLI config of 660 non-TI okay? You know what? Probably not a bad idea. 660 is not that far behind the TI, and as long as you don't need the extra VRAM of getting a higher end card with more video memory, you should be able to get a pretty significant performance boost to the tune of better than you would do by selling a 660 and getting a 670 or something like that.
Dark Gin. It's not 9-night classic start. I just download Classic Start. I think it's Classic Shell for Windows 8 from the 9night website. Just want to clarify that.
I'm only 13. I'm not posting strange pictures. Yeah, I was a perfect angel on the internet when I was 13 too.
Either way,
What are
we
you
don't want to
talking
risk
about?
it because
Yeah,
we've
just-
clicked on stuff that kind of killed people's ears before.
Tim already knows the answer. NFF12. Logan likes one of your CES. He likes one of our CES videos. We did like 50. What a jerk.
Good enough.
Don't subscribe to Logan. I take back everything I said before about subscribing to Logan.
I don't even care. I still like Logan.
Whatever, man. Okay, let's see if we've got... Oh, EVGA released their utility for changing the lighting.
Yes. 690
and Titan, so you can lower the brightness, increase the brightness.
You can set it to breathing.
Breathing mode.
Which is like, I love breathing mode for LEDs. It's just awesome.
Although what I think I would probably do if I was balling enough to have a Titan is I would set it up, depending on GPU load, it can go brighter or dimmer.
So cool.
So cool. That's the kind of stuff that really makes me geek out.
That's awesome. I love stuff like that. That's why I like tactical tracers. Crucial tactical tracers RAM.
I tried to install the application on my computer. It just says unsupported motherboard. I haven't done a BIOS update though. It's still running BIOS V1 and it's running that weird Xeon chipset. It's running a workstation chipset. So I might try taking the modules, putting them in an X79 or like a Z68 board or something.
Setting it and then moving them
and
back
then moving
over.
them back over because
That's
I
not a bad
think
idea.
it's saved on the modules themselves.
I think so, but
I think so.
I don't quote either of us on that.
Yeah, we don't actually know. So there.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, and in combination that would actually be pretty cool.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I'd
usage
probably
lights.
want to do like an LED color swap on the Titan though. Like if there'd be a
could
way,
do
you
it.
could probably do it because you could take the green out of the cooler and probably put in blue. I bet it's not even a colored LED. Looking at that color, that's not a green LED color. That would look so good. Like blue GTX.
Oof. Oof. That would be cool.
Speaking of like mods and rigs and stuff like that, I'm actually just
You should probably not have your
sending myself that.
email.
Oh, yeah, guys, please don't read my emails. I don't think there's anything here that's that bad.
But you've got stuff from people, so their names are there and stuff.
Yeah,
They might care about that.
that email from that guy is like the most bizarre thing that that I've seen in a while.
I don't even see it.
It's they want us to promote some contest or something to win like a TV or
Can we
something.
talk about the
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know if I can talk about. Here, I'll type it. One sec.
Are you drunk?
No, I just don't know how to describe this.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
I don't even know who it is.
It's
This is your game.
It's oh crap. You know what? Let's just save it then because I can't remember who makes
Now
the
they're
email.
all gonna be like, what?
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do our featured build log of the week from the Linus Tech Tips forum. So our featured build log is from Jorick. Wait a minute, didn't we already feature this?
Did we? Uh-oh.
What you talking about, Willis?
Did we? You have to log in.
Oh, right, I have to log in to see images.
I can't change that, I'm sorry.
I think we already featured this one. Okay, well, Jorick, you're on again because it's too late for me to fix it now.
I had other competitors. Okay. Last stream was very rushed today.
Okay. I don't remember my password for the forum right now. So we're not at our best right now here, guys. There we go. I'm logged in.
Was this the first one?
I think... Yeah, we definitely featured this.
None of those were the completed pictures anyways.
Way to go.
Did you show the wrong pictures when we actually featured it?
No. Oh, I might not have showed all the pictures. Okay, fine. We're just gonna feature Yorick again.
Go to the very last
and
page.
we're gonna go to the very end of his build
Why
log.
did you go? Okay.
All right.
It's not loading.
There it goes. Okay, so we're gonna look at his build properly this time. So Slick, why don't you cover everything that's good about it here? You can use this to
Yeah, this was apparently featured before. Sorry, guys. This was very last minute. We didn't have internet in the office today.
That was so fail.
And
so fail.
I had to try and find a build log. So I was trying to find build logs without pictures. Which is like kind of hard to do.
You just have to go based on memory of build logs you've seen before that are good.
So I was reading the comments and trying to figure out what was going on with this one, and I was like, this sounds awesome. So went with this, and that apparently didn't work out too great.
Tell us about the rig though. That looks awesome.
It looks amazing. It's based on like crop circles. That's
Right.
why it's called Phenomenon. So kind of cool naming to go along with your style. A lot of planning that went into this. If you look into earlier posts, like he gets into actually like I think it's called drafting. I don't know if that's the official name for it, what he did specifically, but he drafted out like what he was going to do for this crop circle and like the rest of the design of the case. A lot of really, really cool mods that went into this. It's very clean. Like you can even see that picture right there. That is incredibly clean.
That's outstanding. This I never saw, so there you go.
He uses MNDPC sleeving.
MDPC.
I'm thinking $1 million PC.
Mm-hmm.
Like just insanely clean. Everything about it is clean.
I love the white fittings.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the white fittings are awesome. The sleeving situation he has going on is really interesting because a lot of people will go with nice patterns and stuff like 1-1 or 2-2 or like half and half, but
I've seen a lot of people do like one accent one.
Or one accent one,
Yep.
but he kind of flipped it around a little bit, and that's scary because you can flip it around a little bit and it might not look very good, and then you just sleeved everything and it doesn't look very good, but this looks really good.
We have a visitor. Hi. Oh no. Okay, well, live stream's over, guys. My cats are apparently outside, so I need to go chase them. They're indoor cats because they're expensive and I don't want them to get stolen, and they're stupid and I don't want them to get dead. So thank you guys for joining the live stream tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll have the archive up hopefully pretty soon. And good night, everybody.
Good night.